Good morning, welcome to Fairy and Spoilt. Today I'm going to talk to you about how treats can hurt your dogs. So I'm going to show you today how to understand what's in dog treats. I'm going to show you the back of packet and to teach you to understand what's going into that treat. I've also been contacted by a subscriber who's told me a really sad, horrible story about something that happened to his dog because of treats. Really horrible story. I'm going to show you pictures of that dog, and I'm going to go through that story with you and then teach you, like I said at the end, to understand what's in dog treats. Okay, so let me show you the beautiful Caliphus. Isn't that the most beautiful name? Caliphus. I hope I'm saying that right. Absolutely beautiful name. So let's bring her into the picture and let's show you her. So this is her. Look at her, absolutely gorgeous. Look at her. Beautiful, beautiful girl. Right, so Caliphus owner feeds her an absolute top of the range diet. You could not wish for a better diet. No wheat, no grains, nothing bad. It's home cooked, some of it's raw. Perfect, absolutely perfect diet. You couldn't wish for a better diet. And so understandably, with the treats, didn't seem that concerned because they're just we weren't getting a lot of them, just a little amount of them, and the rest of the diet was so great that, you know, didn't think there'd be a problem, which is completely understandable. I could completely relate to that, completely understand that, and that's, you know, that's how life was. Good, very well looked after dog. However, she did have a very low-lying yeast infection that cropped up now and again. That had been for about 8 years. When we went to the vet, they were given medicated shampoo to bath her in, and it never went away. It was always there, but low lying, not a huge amount of suffering. It would come and it would go. And then a situation happened with the weather, and so they weren't able to be walked for, I don't know what it was, a couple of days. I don't know if it was deep snow or what happened. And because of this weather conditions, the owner could only get to his local shop. So he went there and he just brought more of the treats that he was already giving them. But because they weren't able to walk the dogs, they were trained, and so that involved more treats. And I'm gonna show you something now which is horrible. So if you're of a nervous disposition, you don't want to see it, just put your hand over the screen for a minute. I'll tell you when the picture's gone. This is what happened. Look at it. Isn't that awful? Look at the poor sweetheart. Look at that face. And the thing to mention here is, this was just after she'd had a bath. So before that, I'm told that those creases were all full of brown sludge. And so the owner was washed them all out. But he said it doesn't take long for the sludge to come back. Can you imagine how much pain that dog is in? Can you imagine? And this makes me so angry, because this darling dog is suffering like this because of the greedy people who make dog treats and dog food. Don't care about our dogs at all. All they're interested in is making money, and they will put whatever they can put in those treats and that food to make the most money. So they don't care how much it's harming our dogs. They don't care how unnatural it is. They just want to make money. They don't care about our dogs. You must always remember that. Companies that make treats, companies that make dog food, they're not on your side. They just want to make as much money as possible. They are not dog lovers. They don't even like dogs, because any company that could do that to a dog does not like dogs. So, owner of this lovely darling went to the vets and got given more medicated shampoo. The owner thankfully has a brain, because it would appear that most vets don't have brains. I will never understand how vets do not ever seem to look at what's causing the problem. They seem to only ever want to just sort out the symptoms. And I know from my own experience with Albert, they never once asked about his food or anything. And yet changing the food changed his whole life. If you don't know about my story, I'm going to put the hotspot video up at the bottom at the end of this video. And then if you want more, there's a playlist all to do hotspots. I had a horrendous time with my little Albert over there at the back. Absolutely horrendous. He nearly had to be put to sleep. And you know what? That is the thing that really winds me up. The vet talked about putting him to sleep because his quality of life was so bad before they asked what food he was eating. Honestly. Right. So, there's a thing there. For goodness sake, do not trust vets. I know I go on about it so much. But when I start to meet some vets that actually know what they're doing, I will change my tune. Until I meet a vet that I think did a good job, I'm just going to keep going on about how rubbish they are. So, this vet, just like any other vet, never asked about treats they were being fed or food they were being fed. This darling was being fed. Thankfully, the owner has a brain and thought to himself, what's changed? Because suddenly we've gone from low-lying yeast infection to this. Oh, and this, I've seen loads and loads of pictures of this dog. And this is all on her belly. It's all around her delicate areas. It's all on her paws, in her ears, covered in this. Covered. So the owner thought, like, something massively has changed, because why has it all got so much worse? And the only thing that had changed was that he was giving them more of this particular treat. So he'd stopped the treat altogether, right off the treat, and completely cleared up. Now, I'm not sure if this is a picture of before or if this is a picture of after this. But what I do know is that the dog is now good, healthy, well, happy. All of this has disappeared. But only because the owner had the brains to think, hold on a minute, something doesn't add up here. This wouldn't just happen. And the vets just wanted to keep bathing him in the bathing her in the medicated shampoo. And it wasn't doing any good. And what I will never understand is with vets, if a problem keeps coming back after 8 years, and you clearly haven't sorted out the problem, have you? Don't even get me started on vets. They wind me up so much. They can be so stupid. So luckily, this owner knew what he was talking about, took her off this treat, and she's all cleared up and lovely. And I'm quite sure that she must now be running around, living her best life. I'm sure she is. Bless her little heart. Look at her. Isn't she gorgeous? Look at those eyes. Aren't they wise, those eyes? Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I think that's her daughter in the background. Look at her. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful girl. And so all is well and good. Now, obviously, as you could imagine, the owner is not at all happy. This shouldn't have happened. What I have taken from this is that, well, the tiniest little bit of... The thing is, with the treats that he was feeding, and I do talk about them a bit later on in the video, he's quite convinced it was because the treats contained plastics, and that was a hormone imbalance, and that caused the yeast infection. That may well be the case. I don't have actually any experience with yeast infections. Hot spots and itchy skin, I know all about that. I consider myself an absolute expert in that. But yeast infections aren't something that I've had to deal with in any dogs I've had. However, you know, the treats, I would say also the grains would have been a massive component in causing this. And I've looked at the composition of this particular treat, and it's absolutely shocking. Shockingly bad. Which in a minute I will go through with you, so you'll understand how to stop that from happening to you. But the other thing that really struck me about this story was that just because your dog isn't suffering, as in you see any suffering, doesn't mean that they're not actually feeling very well. So your dog may not have yeast infections or hot spots or itchy skin, but it doesn't mean that the bad quality ingredient in the dog or in the food or the treats aren't causing your dog to not feel very well inside or doing some damage inside. Or like I said, a lot of these treats have got so much sugar. Oh, no, I haven't said that yet. You'll get that in a minute. I've filmed this video backwards, so I've kind of got to be a bit, But as I'll talk to you about in a minute, the sugar in a lot of treats is causing problems with their teeth. Well, you may not know that they've got toothache and stuff. So, it's really, really important that you understand what's in the dog treats. So on that note, I'm now going to take you into my kitchen and I'm going to show you how to understand what is in a dog treat. So you could go to the shop, pick up a packet of dog treats, forget about reading the lies that are on the front of the packet, because that's all just lies. Well, not all of them, but the majority, the cheaper ones, that's all just lies. And I want to teach you how to turn around the back of the packet, and really easily you can understand whether or not that's a good dog treat. And I think it might sound a bit complicated to be able to understand it. It's not. It's really not. Really isn't complicated at all. So I'm going to show you that in a minute. So we'll leave this little darling here for now. That, honestly, oh, goodness me. The poor sweetheart. Right, can I show you something? Look, this really gets me. Look, see her eyes here? Look, bright, alert, gorgeous, lovely. And then look at her eyes here. They're closed up, they're a bit watery, they're sad. Isn't it awful? Really awful. Really awful. And you know what? This man has done a good thing by contacting me, because I would never have talked about yeast infections, because it's not something my dogs have. I talk about what I'm living day to day with my dogs. So if your dog has got a yeast infection, it could be and you might have your dog on a great diet, but it could be something as simple as you've just given them a little bit of treat every day, and that treat's got something that's setting them off. So we're going to leave this little bit darling here now, and I'll see you in the kitchen to show you how to understand it. So these are the treats that I buy all the time and that I feed my boys, and they're great. And for me, it's very simple. They have to be grain-free, and the actual ingredient has to be at least 70% either meat or fish. You can see that it says no grain, no wheat, naturally preserved. That's all well and good, but you have to turn over the packet and make sure that it's backing it up. So I'll do that in a minute. So here's another one that I give. So let me just show you that. So that's grain-free treats. And I just got that from Amazon. I have to say that was extortionately expensive. It's not one that I always buy because it is very expensive. But it does the job. It's a nice treat. They really like it, and it's very healthy. Nice and clean. This is another one that I really like, and you can see there that it says it's 100% salmon. That's it. It's just salmon, and again, they really like it. And then this one here, and it's 100% chicken. That's it. So that's the ones that I always go for. The ones that are at least 100%, 80% of either the chicken or the fish. I have found, and I know a lot of you have, that white fish sparks hotspots. Nobody knows why. I've researched it in research. Nobody really knows why, but white fish sparks hotspots and creates itchy skin. Beef is another one. No one really knows why, but beef sparks hotspots. And I don't feed pork because the fat content is just way too high, and you could end up with pancreas problems. So now I'm going to turn them over and show you how to read the back of the packet. If you have watched I teach you in a video how to read the back of your dog food packet, so that you can look at your dog food and you can understand exactly how much of it is meat or fish and how much of it is vegetables and stuff. And then if you've got grains or wheat or anything like that. So grains and wheat, without question, can cause problems for dogs, because the grain turns to sugar. The sugar then therefore causes inflammation, and that can spark hotspots. Now, there are dogs that live their whole life on a really bad quality diet full of grains and wheats, and there's never any problems. But having learnt what I learnt today from the gorgeous bulldog we just talked about, I realised that just because a dog isn't actually showing signs of illness, it doesn't mean that it's not causing problems inside and they're not feeling too great. And I know myself, no one will ever convince me any other way. Grains and cereals and wheat and all of that, really, really bad for dogs. They're not meant to eat it, and it's really, really bad for dogs. So let me show you. Yeah, so what I was saying was, in that video where I taught you how to read the back of the dog food packet, this is exactly the same. So if you've learnt from my videos how to read the composition on the back of your dog food packet, you've got it. It's exactly the same, and stick to exactly the same rules as that. But if you haven't watched that video, let me just show you. So on the back of dog food packets, well, some will call it ingredients, and I generally find that if a food or a treat calls it ingredients, it's incredibly bad quality. So you're looking for this. So composition. And you can see there nice and clearly 80% freshly prepared poultry, including chicken, duck, turkey, sweet potato and chicken stock. Nice and simple, nice and clean. You can nice and clearly see there's nothing on there that you don't know what it is. And that's what I'm always looking for. I don't want stuff on there that I don't know what it is. I don't want anything on there that's sugars. Sugars are terrible. So that's glucose, fructose, lactose, any O's, anything with O's on the end, OSE, then that's a sugar, and that's really, really bad for your dog. So you don't want anything like that. Then if we look at this one again, so it says here on the front, because you've always got to make sure that what it says on the front happens on the back, because it doesn't always. It's 100% salmon, that's it. Fine, great, let's turn it over, let's make sure you're telling the truth. If you look here again, you want composition, there we go, 100% salmon, that's it. And then these things like protein, natural oils, fats, moisture, ash. I don't mind all that sort of stuff. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. So that's a good treat, and that's why I give it to my dogs. And then we've got this one here that says it's 100% chicken. So let's just turn it over and let's make sure that it says that it is. Oh, I tell you, my eyes are getting worse and worse. Composition, can you see it up the top there? Look, 100% chicken, and then it's got a few what's it got in there? I can't even read that, but I know I've read it before and I was fine with it. I think it's the ash again. So that's fine. Now, I was going to buy the really bad quality treats, and I was going to show you the back of a packet. I've decided not to, quite frankly, because I don't want those companies coming after me and shutting me down. I cannot help dogs if I'm shut down. So the particular treat that was the problem for the darling little bulldog, yeah, I could mention them, but I'm not going to, because I don't want them to come after me and shut me down, because then I can't help dogs. What you need to be looking out for is, right, so I can describe this treat for you, and this treat actually, so this brand makes them, but actually all the supermarkets make their own version, and they're all as rubbish and they're all as dangerous. So it's a flat treat, and it's rectangle. So it's probably about the length of my hand, and it's flat, and they come in like different flavours, so they come in different colours. You know, come on, you know what I'm talking about. Animal derivatives. If there is anything that starts with animal derivatives, walk away from it or chuck it in the bin, because animal derivatives are all the scrappy old bits that you. So if as example, so if you feed your dog a food that's 80% chicken, you're getting the breast and you're getting the meat from all the legs and all the good stuff. All the rubbishy bits that's of no use, like the claws and the beaks, that is what animal derivatives are. So animal derivatives, whether it be in a food or whether it be in a treat, absolutely get away from it. It's terrible for your dog. The fact that chicken claws and chicken beaks and whatnot are used as a treat just about says it all, really. You know, there's no nutrition in them. It's just a treat. So get away. Anything that says animal derivatives, get right away from it. The other thing that you need to really be watching is companies, and there are quite a few of them around at the moment, that are saying that they will bespoke. So you tell them your dog's how his health is, and then they make you a recipe bespoke to your dog. So I went on a few of these and I had a look, and I went into the composition of the actual food. So I used Harry here. I put in all his details. They sent me a food they were going to send me, and then I looked at the composition, and the composition was 12%. There was 12% meat in that food. There should 50 and above is what I aim for. So I generally aim for 80, 85, but I think from 50 and above you're fine. But you just want that to be meat and vegetables, nothing else. Meat and vegetables, or fish and vegetables. So I contacted the company and I said, this is disgusting. You are false marketing. That dog food that you were going to send to my dog is really bad quality. And as you would expect, I didn't get a response. So don't be fooled by marketing. And the dog treat that was the particular problem for our darling bulldog is that they are such a well-known brand. And if you, especially I think if you've got your first dog, you would think that that's a trusted and respected brand, because their marketing and the false advertising they do is shocking, absolutely shocking. And it's just false. And they tell you that it's good for your dog and it's best for your dog's health and great for this and great for that. It's actually a load of rubbish. They are damaging your dogs. And also, the other thing I want to talk about is the treat I just described to you, and is the culprit in this video. I've seen Facebook pages dedicated to it because it's causing the sugar. There's so much sugar in it that the dogs get addicted to it, but it's causing really bad problems for dogs' teeth. So you really want to keep it nice and clean and simple. No one is going to understand all the ingredients in stuff. And, you know, I think they do that because they know you're not going to. So if you just stick to the nice, clean, simple rules of this, look, so you just want your meat or whatever that is, or your fish, whatever that is, which would only really be salmon. And then you just want a nice list of things that you understand, like vegetables and herbs and stuff. Just keep it nice and clean and nice and simple. If I had a dog that either had the yeast infection or had really bad hot spots, I wouldn't be feeding them any of these treats. I've actually done a video on a homemade treat that I make, and it's just, you have to go and watch it, but it's got coconut, salmon, tuna. Really clean, really nice, you know, nice for dogs, and they love it. They absolutely love it. If you go to the playlist for feeding dogs, it's in there. And it's just a grain-free, completely grain-free, nice and healthy. You know what everything is. It's all human-grade food. And that they love that. And it's really pure and clear for their system. The other thing is that it's really easy to forget little tidbits that you're giving your dogs and not realise that actually you don't know what's in that. Be it grains, be it plastics, be it whatever they fancied putting in it. So I must admit, when I heard this story, I had to really think and make sure that nothing throughout my day that I gave my boys came into any category of anything bad. And one thing did. I was feeding them a tiny little, I do find it quite a lot with my dogs and lots of training. And one of the treats that I was using it, and I've talked about it on this channel, and I was using it because it smells really strongly and it breaks up really small. Actually, when I looked at the packet, there was a lot of stuff on there that I didn't understand. So I've stopped that now, and I'm just going to stick with the 3 treats that I've just shown you. So just keep it really nice and clean. Right, so that's it. If you any questions about this, don't hesitate to contact me. If you don't understand the back of a packet or there's anything about it you don't understand, please don't hesitate to contact me on that. Right, so we're going to end with my darling little Albert. If you know my channel, you know he is the one who nearly died due to hot spots and stuff. It was horrendous. So he's all good, isn't ya? He's been great now. Last 9 years, absolutely no problems at all. He's been all right, apart from the toast incident with our guests. If you watch my videos, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's horrendous. It's absolutely horrendous, and you have to get educated. You shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to get educated about this stuff. You should just be able to trust that the dog food industry is doing the right thing by you, but they're not. So you have to get yourself educated and know what you're putting into dogs. So we'll leave it there for today. So thank you very much for watching. I hope that you all have a lovely day, and we'll all see you in the next video. Bye bye.